As we move on to our next part of the agenda, I am honored to introduce Mr. Prem Prabhakar, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of SBI Ventures Limited. Sorry. Yeah. I am honored to introduce Mr. Prem Prabhakar, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of SBI Ventures Limited. He brings over 24 years of banking leadership across SBI's banking, treasury, and investment operations in India and globally. Today, Mr. Prabhakar will discuss financing India's climate future, the role of large asset managers in driving scale and impact. Requesting Mr. Prabhakar to kindly grace the stage and share your valuable thoughts with us.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So IIC has been kind enough and they are blessing me with the post-lunch sessions. So it's repeat again this year. So good afternoon once again. It is both a privilege and responsibility to address all of you today on a subject that is not only timely but existential. Financial India's climate future. As the world's most populous democracy and a rising economic powerhouse, India's climate journey is not just a national imperative, it's a global necessity. Our nation has made bold commitments, achieving net zero emissions by 2070, reducing emissions intensity by 45% by 2030, and ensuring that 50% of our electricity capacity comes from non-fossil fuel sources. These are not just targets, they are declarations of intent, of leadership, and of ambition. But ambitions must be matched with action, and action in turn must be fueled by capital. This is where large asset managers, with their unparalleled financial muscle and strategic foresight, can play a transformative role. Today, let's explore how these institutions can catalyze India's green transition, drawing on insights from Niti Aayog, Ministry of Finance, RBI, and global best practices. India's climate commitments are among the most ambitious in the developing world. Our nationally determined contributions as a response to the Paris Climate Agreement reflect a deep understanding of the urgency of climate action and the scale of transformation required. However, the financial challenge is formidable. According to estimates by the climate policy initiatives, India needs around $170 billion annually to meet its 2030 goals. Current flows are less than a third of that. The gap is not just a number, it's a call to innovate, collaborate, and mobilize capital at unprecedented level. Niti Aayog has emphasized that this transition will require a multi-decade investment push, potentially amounting to 4% of GDP annually. This is not just about public finance. In fact, the private sector must shoulder the lion's share of this shared commitment. And within the private sector, large asset managers, mutual funds, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and insurance companies are uniquely positioned to lead. Banks, along with these large asset managers, are international development agencies, act as financial intermediaries and have a pivotal role to play in enabling sustainable transition. SBI, India's largest bank, is cognizant of its role in steering India towards sustainable development. The bank has significantly enhanced its investment in green sector, such as e-mobility, green hydrogen, and renewable energy sector, with an emphasis on solar, wind, and battery storage projects, supported by key government policies aimed at facilitating the transition to a cleaner energy future. With climate finance in India on a transformative path, steps have been taken to enhance internal capacity for appraising and financing new age sectors such as transition finance and adaptation finance. The bank is also in the process of setting up a center of excellence dedicated to new age sectors, reinforcing India's leadership in new age technologies and climate finance. The bank has set up an ambitious target to achieve a green portfolio of at least 7.5% of its domestic gross advances by 2030, underscoring its commitment to sustainable financing, and has developed a comprehensive roadmap with year-wise target. Bank has also developed a roadmap with year-wise emission reduction targets to achieve carbon neutrality in its internal operations by 2030. RBI's evolving climate risk framework is set to reshape how large regulated entities operate. Banks must realign their lending and investment portfolios to support taxonomy-defined climate-positive activities, shifting capital away from carbon-intensive sectors. They are required to integrate physical risks such as floods, heat waves, and transition risks such as policy shifts, tech disruptions, etc., into credit and assessment, impacting loan pricing, collateral valuation, and provisioning norms. RBI is promoting instruments like green bond, ESG-linked loans, and green deposits, ensuring proceeds align with climate goals. The financial sector faces a dual challenge: mobilizing capital for green infrastructure and enhancing resilience to climate shocks, especially as stress tests reveal public sector banks are more vulnerable than the private sector banks. So what is the role of the large asset managers? Large asset managers, they control trillions of dollars globally. In India, their influence is growing rapidly, especially as domestic saving deepen and institutional investment mature. Their potential impact on climate finance is threefold. Firstly, capital mobilization at scale. Asset managers can channel long-term capital into green infrastructure, renewable energy, sustainable mobility, and climate-resilient agriculture. Secondly, de-risking and blended finance. By partnering with public institutions and DFIs, they can de-risk early-stage projects, making them attractive to mainstream investors. And lastly, integrating climate risk. Through active ownership and stewardship, they can embed climate risk along with environmental, social, and governance principles across their portfolios, influencing corporate behavior and discourse. Furthermore, asset managers can play a catalytic role in expanding access to climate transition finance for SMEs by investing in green credit facilities, venture debt, and climate-focused private equity. This will help democratize climate finance and ensure that smaller enterprises are not left behind in the transition. Ultimately, large asset managers are not just capital providers, they are ecosystem builders. Their leadership in climate finance can help India meet its climate goals while positioning the country as a global hub for sustainable investment. There exists a huge demand to develop the ecosystem to enable and enhance fund flows. There have been great strides in the last decade to institutionalize the large-scale equity financing, directing capital towards green sectors. However, the funding gap still exists. To scale climate finance, the emphasis is more on institutional and financial platforms, along with global partnerships, should continue and garner scale. This involves creating specialized entities and mechanisms that offer specialized financial terms for green lending and green projects, guarantees to climate-aligned projects, particularly those led by small and medium enterprises. Further, in line with India's taxonomy, a project sourcing and listing platform can aid in the matching of projects to the relevant investors. International collaboration is critical. By engaging with global investors and development partners, India can design specialized finance structures that combine concessional and commercial capital to de-risk investments in sectors like clean energy, sustainable agriculture, and climate resilience. These efforts will help mobilize large-scale funding while ensuring inclusivity and impact across the financial system. SBI, through its subsidiary, SBI Ventures Limited, has effectively supported funds and companies throughout India, with a specific focus on climate and social impact investments. SBI Ventures operates through two distinct structures. The first is a fund of fund investment vehicle, funding through active support from the Government of India and assists early and growth stage SMEs working towards addressing social, climate, and environmental challenges. The second is through direct investment vehicle, which provides direct backing to companies dedicated to making climate and social impacts. Our direct vehicle, the NEEV funds, which I am sure you must be aware of, these are strategically focused on addressing climate challenges by investing in SMEs that offer scalable, climate positive solutions. The first fund was launched in 2015 as a government to government initiative under UK India partnership, set the foundation for investment into climate and social impact SMEs. The second fund, which is called SVL SME and we call it NEEV 2, it was launched in 2021 with a greater number of foreign investors. It is dedicated to addressing the climate and sustainability investing, thereby building a climate finance platform for scale. Our future forward vision to ring on a planet that is a lot more sustainable and inclusive for all is substantiated by our outcomes of impacting 5.3 million lives. Our climate strategy targets key sectors such as clean energy, electric mobility, industrial decarbonization, sustainable agriculture, water management, and circular economy initiatives. By embedding environmental, social, and governance principles throughout the investment process and leveraging impact measurement frameworks, the funds ensure that the capital drives measurable impact outcomes. NEEV 2 funds investments in climate space have supported innovative companies which are driving impact at a scale. While Chakra Innovation manufactures devices for emission reduction and has received India's first type approval for an emission control device, GPS Renewable has done the design and EPC for Asia's largest bio-CNG plant of 500 tons per day capacity at Indore. Blue Planet Environmental Solutions is recognized as the fastest growing company in the waste management space in Asia. Hygenco undertook the first industrial scale green hydrogen installation, replacing the polluting hydrogen extraction method from methane. Nutrifresh, this is operating farm on barren lands throughout controlled environment agriculture in western Maharashtra. With NEEV 2, the focus remains steadfast on a robust ESG framework. We aim to build India's ecosystem for growing by fortifying institutional capacity, strengthening ESG, and mainstreaming development impact and gender inclusivity. During the recent visit of UK Prime Minister to India in October 2025, both PMs jointly announced the launch of fund for scaling climate finance. The leaders reaffirmed the importance of collaboration to achieve net zero goals. The Prime Ministers welcomed the India-UK Climate Finance Initiative to enable setting up of climate finance, unlocking green growth and new financing opportunities for both countries. They announced a new joint investment in the Climate Tech Startup Fund. This strategic initiative under the MOU between the UK government and State Bank of India will enhance support for innovative startups working in frontier sectors such as climate technology and AI, driving innovation and fostering growth. India's climate journey is not just about domestic transformation. It is about global leadership. With our scale, innovation, ecosystem, and demographic dividend, India can become the climate solution hub for the global south. Large asset managers investing in India are not just seeking returns, they are shaping the future of global climate finance. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate the main points. Institutional leadership is the key. Banks and asset managers must go beyond compliance to drive India's climate transition, mobilizing capital and driving innovation across sectors. Ecosystem building for inclusive growth. The strengthening institutional frameworks, supporting SMEs, and scaling climate positive investments will ensure that climate and transition finance reaches the last mile and delivers measurable impact. Global partnership for scalable solution. By collaborating with international stakeholders and leveraging blended or specialized finance, India can unlock transformative capital flows, positioning itself as a global hub for sustainable investment and climate innovation. Financing India's climate future is not a solitary endeavor, it's a collective mission. Large asset managers are not just financiers, they are architects of the future. Their capital, when aligned with purpose, can unlock a new era of green growth, inclusive development, and global impact. Let us move forward with courage, clarity, and collaboration. Let us invest not just in projects, but in possibilities, not just in return, but in resilience, not just in growth, but in greener, fairer, and more sustainable India. Thank you so much. Sure.
Thank you, sir. I'll request you to stay back. And actually, it was very interesting your thoughts that you spoke about the threefold approach of the role of large asset managers and the breadth of investment SBI Ventures and NEE funds are carrying out in the climate space. That is really valuable, and I think it was very enriching and interesting for the entire audience. So thank you so much for that, sir. Now I'll request you to kindly launch our climate bulletin. This has been in collaboration with NEE Funds and SBI Ventures. So I would request you to kindly launch.
Please.
So thank you, Girish, and thank you, Anjana, for, yeah, thank you with the round of applause. Thank you.